name is Millie and I was born and raised in the beautiful Southern Alps of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Descended from mountaineers, I grew up scrambling around these mountain peaks, canyons and alpine meadows.
The glaciers that I grew up exploring have changed dramatically. These enormous forces of ice have shrunk at a remarkable rate. Some disappeared entirely. The rapidly changing climate is undeniable.
From the mountains to the sea, I discovered the magic of the ocean and completed my Master of Science in Marine Science. Learning to breathe underwater opened up a whole new world. However, similar to the glaciers disappearing in the Alpine, I started to notice things changing underwater. Passionate about ocean health, I was on a mission to discover how people are connected to the ocean, what changes are occurring, and what's being done about it. Sponsored by Rolex, as the Australasian Our World Underwater Scholar, I had the opportunity to meet with leading individuals across the world to do just that. Firstly, I needed to build my skill set, both above and beneath the surface. In the Cayman Islands, I undertook an intense freedive training program, led by Kirk Kroc, founder of Performance Freediving International.
I really enjoyed the physical and mental challenge of freediving.
I gained my intermediate freediver qualification and loved unlocking this new discipline to access the world of water. In preparation for remote diving operations, I wanted to learn more about dive safety. I gained an introduction to hyperbaric medicine from the Executive Director of the Catalina Hyperbaric Chamber, Carl Huggins. I really enjoyed advancing my understanding of diving physiology and leading patient treatment scenarios as I trained to operate the chamber. Next up was underwater training. But to develop my diving capacity, I needed to increase the depth and duration of my dives. Brad Turner, founder of Scuba Diving Tasmania, introduced me to the world of technical diving. In Tasmania, I loved learning to dive with a variety of equipment variations, including side mount configuration. I learned all about diving with different breathing gases and trained to conduct trimix decompression dives and blend my own gas mixes. This allowed me to access new environments, deeper habitats, which held rich biodiversity and abundance of life. Fascinated by the new opportunities technical diving offered, I was eager to continue to advance my skill set. In Ahmed, Bali, I trained to become a closed-circuit rebreather diver. Requiring a comprehensive understanding of diving physiology and application of my knowledge and skills, I found training extremely rewarding. I thoroughly enjoyed the diligent planning and preparation required to safely conduct these dives. I loved spending hours underwater and gained my Heliotrox decompression closed-circuit rebreather diver qualification.
Thank you, sir.
With a background in behavioural ecology, being able to document and observe marine life without any bubbles or noise was incredible.
But there is one team that inspires me through their use of technical diving.
And my next adventure was joining them in the Caribbean. I'm here in the beautiful Guadalupe to join the Under the Pole Scientific Underwater Exploration Team for 2 weeks. Founded by Ghilan and Emmanuel Badu, Under the Pole combines scientific research and innovation with technical diving expeditions in extreme environments.
Based on board the yacht Y, their mission was to investigate the unexplored ecosystems in the Mesophotic zone.
Described by scientific director Lorenzo Bramanti as marine animal forests, the team deploy instruments, conduct surveys and collect data to gain an understanding on how these ecosystems function.
Conducting scientific dives at sites 150 metres deep requires extensive planning, support and expertise.
It's in the southeast, it's on the sand. We take that aquadope and in the same place we put the sediment trap out.
I found it really inspiring to see how technology, like closed-circuit rebreathers, can be used as a tool to access these remote, deep ecosystems, which we know little about.
I'm just about to head into the water to join their technical dive team during a decompression stop to check out what they've been up to. See you soon!
Nearly 90% of our oceans remain unexplored. My time with Under the Pole highlighted how essential it is to understand these unknown parts of our underwater world, and how through utilising technology and training, we can investigate them.
During my scholarship year, I experienced how interconnected people are to the ocean across the globe. Working with the Swinomish Indian tribal community and shellfish biologist Julie Barber, I learnt how the connection to land and ocean is an integral way of life. We conducted surveys of wild clam populations within the tribal fishing grounds to estimate biomass and determine sustainable quotas for tribal and state fisheries co-management. In a historic moment, we built the first modern clam garden in the USA at Kukatali Preserve. Reviving this ancient aquaculture technique from thousands of years ago, we moved 33 tonnes of rock needed to create the wall. This form of environmental engineering is an ancient indigenous practice used to increase shellfish production and will provide food security in the face of climate change.
Welcome to Swinomish's new clam garden. We're revitalizing ancient indigenous traditions to protect marine resources for our next 7 generations.
And as a scientist working for the tribe, we strive to respectfully integrate that indigenous knowledge into the sustainable management of these natural resources.
Having experienced community connection to the ocean, I wanted to learn more about coastal resource management. I was fortunate enough to join the Coastal Conservation and Education Foundation in the Philippines. Through an integrated coastal management approach, CCF strives to conserve and manage coral reefs and other ecosystems, including its resources. In Betog, on the island of Siquijor, we conducted baseline assessments for a proposed marine protected area. Across reef, seagrass and mangrove ecosystems, we investigated community structure, habitat, species composition and abundance. I learnt the importance of sharing our findings and proposal with the community, as well as creating a forum for stakeholder interaction to query, debate, and provide opportunities for collaboration and mediation. Only through the joint partnership between different stakeholders, including fisherfolk, municipality, politicians, and community members, can the proposed BTOG MPA be established and upheld. It was very rewarding to unite different stakeholders in favour of the proposed marine protected area.
2, 3. BTOG Marine Protected Area!
Protection of not just this section of Sikihoa, but building to a network of marine protected areas and subsequently the resilience of our underwater world. From the tropics, my next adventure was in the far north. I arrived in Iqaluit, Nunavut, to work with the Canadian High Arctic Research Station and Ocean Networks Canada. As polar research is a big interest of mine, I enjoyed learning about the ongoing research projects at the station, and I helped out with the Canadian Museum of Nature to investigate seaweed biodiversity in the area. Ocean Networks Canada have a community-led cabled ocean observatory in the bay, which I joined the team to help maintain, service and redeploy. These series of instruments allows the community to gather scientific data and combine this with traditional knowledge to understand more about the dramatically changing environment. Warming in the Arctic is occurring 3 to 4 times faster than the global average, and climate change is having significant impacts on ecological processes and Indigenous culture. As winter arrived in the north, I continued to pursue my interest of monitoring in remote regions. I travelled to the Calvert Island Ecological Observatory in Canada to conduct research with the Hakai Institute. In these remote areas of coastal BC, I joined the scientific dive team to identify, measure and count sea stars. We monitored for sea star wasting disease, which has catastrophically reduced sea star populations. Consequently, sunflower sea stars, Pycnopodia, were nearly completely wiped out and are now critically endangered. This has wide-ranging implications for the decline of kelp forests on the Pacific coast, as sea stars are keystone predators. We swapped to gain an understanding of microbial communities living on Pycnopodia and their associations between healthy and diseased individuals. My time with Hakai highlighted the importance of gathering long-term datasets and continued scientific monitoring to understand ecological health. My next adventure took me to the coast of Nova Scotia. Here I joined the Students on Ice Foundation's Ocean Conservation Expedition on board the Indigenous-owned icebreaker, the Polar Prince. I joined Dr. Claire Goodwin, a research scientist in marine biodiversity at the Huntsman Marine Science Centre, to conduct research on board. This involved scientific diving in the Bay of Fundy, which claims the highest tides in the world. Our aim was to create a genetic barcode library of Atlantic Canadian marine invertebrates. We conducted dives in a range of environments, with field and photographic identification of specimens recorded, and samples preserved for future DNA analysis. Through scuba diving and grab sampling, our work focused on collecting as many different species as possible. Environmental DNA is a remarkable scientific tool which can be used as a monitoring technique to understand species composition in an area. However, it relies on a complete barcode library. I think it's amazing to be able to extract DNA from something as simple as a water sample. Helping to develop this non-invasive scientific method to study our oceans was inspiring. In the Falkland Islands, I joined the South Atlantic Environmental Research Institute. We ventured on an expedition to Hummock Island, a remote place full of wildlife. Historically used as farmland, sheep grazing has caused significant loss of tussock grass. This has resulted in accelerated peat erosion on the island, with the fine black sediment being blown straight off the land and into the sea. We assess the effect of peat erosion on the marine benthic community through a variety of methods. Diving in both the highly affected and pristine sites made me aware of the impact peat has on the kelp forest, biodiversity, and ecological health of the marine environment. I was overwhelmed with the curiosity of the marine mammals and the abundance of marine life. Through underwater photography, I helped to create a field guide to the area. It was inspiring to learn of the Antarctic Heritage Trust's work to replant tussock and restore the island. Collaborative projects, such as these on Hummock, are essential to our understanding of anthropogenic impacts and the rewilding of our environment. Next up, I was back in my homeland of Aotearoa. I joined Heritage Expeditions as an expedition guide in Fiordland and the sub-Antarctic islands. These unique islands, known as the Galapagos of the South, are home to many endemic and endangered species. A theme that continues to resurface during my scholarship year is how ocean health is inherently linked to the management of not only our underwater world, but also our terrestrial ecosystems. Animals underwater, such as sea lions and penguins, and subsequently their predators below, rely heavily on the state of the land. Restored from the effects of farming and with the removal of introduced mammalian predators, these sub-Antarctic islands are thriving wild places. Through Zodiac tours, guiding onshore excursions, and lectures on board, it was rewarding to inspire and educate guests on the importance of these islands, the success of restoration, and how to continue to look after them. However, not all of our islands are fully restored, and there is an exciting opportunity to make Auckland Islands predator-free in the near future. With knowledge gaps remaining and further management protection needed, I look forward to furthering our understanding of how these ecosystems function and how best to protect them. My next adventure took me south, to Antarctica. Hosted by OWUSS and Joro Experiences,
I joined Nansen Explorer to support a resupply of the NOAA scientific base on Livingston Island, as well as join an expedition along the Antarctic Peninsula and into the Weddell Sea.
My time in Antarctica made me aware of the logistical support and high level of training and skill sets necessary to conduct research and operate in the Southern Ocean.
I witnessed firsthand the magic and wilderness of this frozen continent and how species can recover and wildlife can thrive.
With family connections to Antarctica, this personal experience reinforced my passion to understand and protect the Southern Ocean.
Through sharing these wild places and communicating their importance, we can inspire connection and foster guardianship.
During my scholarship year, sea ice fringing the continent was recorded at the lowest amount in history, a trend threatening many species, including the emperor penguin. The largest and heaviest of all penguins, these underwater experts can dive up to depths of 500 metres. However, it's their dependency on this disappearing sea ice for breeding that is causing them to be at risk of extinction. A declining trend of sea ice threatens the ecology of the region, as well as ocean circulations around the globe. A reduction in deep ocean water flowing from Antarctica threatens the collapse of circulation crucial for planetary systems. Through urgent climate action, or lack of, we decide the Emperor's fate and the future of Antarctica. Things are changing in the mountains, on the land, and in the sea. The reality of the changing climate and biodiversity crisis is here. During my scholarship year, I also learnt it can be inspiring and empowering. I've witnessed the beauty and fragility of the natural world, but I've also met with individuals and organisations dedicated to furthering the understanding and protection of our wild places. We can't look at the health of the underwater world in isolation. We are part of a living system and need to take responsibility for our role in it. For we all need to be kaitiaki, guardians of our environment, from the mountains to the sea. Ki uta ki tai, he taonga te wai.
You feel like you can stay forever.